Hello, it's Martin here with Danny. We just lost 1-0 to Winchester. Thoughts on the game, Danny?
Scrappy, horrible, nasty, bumpy. It wasn't the greatest game by any stretch of the imagination. I felt that first half we probably were too pent up on emotion, especially after what's been said about certain players and what we found out, about what they felt of us as a group, which is fair enough, prerogative, absolutely everything like that. And I just felt that we, the 5 bookings first half to their one.
Yeah.
It kind of took the win out of ourselves. Yes, there was a couple of bookings in there. Yes, there wasn't a couple of bookings in there. And I felt it just had like an adverse effect on us. I'm not taking anything away from Winchester because they've done the dark arts and they have the best in the league at it in between the sticks. They've done all the dark arts well. Got round the referee when they needed to. Play for time when they needed to, and I've got to take my hat off because it beat us. And it's no fluke because we lost in the FA Cup. We drew 2-2 down now. We ain't beaten them this season, so I take my hat off. They've kind of got our number this season, which hurts, being my old club. But I have to take my hat off to Winchester because they certainly done a number on us today.
Yeah, they certainly seem to raise their games against Hungerford, but I'd say probably a case of over-trying at times for us.
Yeah, we're like I always say, we're an emotional side, emotional manager, everything like that. I think that we was just too emotional, got too involved. We know what to expect from certain referees at this level and things like that. And yeah, he wasn't great, but I'm not going to sit here and moan about that because it feels like I moan about that every time we either get beat or it's a contentious decision.
Or either win.
Yeah, or either win as well. But I think, like I said, we just didn't get going. First half, we just didn't get going. It was too stop-start. There was no flow to the game. We've had a really good crowd here for non-league day. Brilliant support. And I just felt that, it wasn't worth 14 quid to come in and watch it. But at the end of the day, I will say, look where we are and look where we've come. We've come on leaps and bounds. I said it the other day. We're trying to push for something that people don't think that we can do. So it's going to be an uphill task now, massively. But we have got some wonderful characters, wonderful players. My staff have been terrific in this run that we've had. So we just have to dust ourselves down and go again.
Yeah, indeed. Frustrating day, but as you say, magnificent crowd today, I thought.
Outstanding, especially obviously with the races on and everything like that at Newbury. I had some good, friends here and everything like that. Our support's been brilliant, ever since the turn of the year. Of course, results drive that. I do understand that. But the hard work behind the scenes that, Chris and Gemma and you do, Martin, and the committee, getting people through the gate, getting people supporting us, it means the world. It does, when you see like the younger supporters in the big stand, singing and everything like that. It does, it goes a long way with me, it goes a long way with the players and everything like that. I just, wanted to replay him with a good performance today. But one thing is, it's 2 bad performances shown in and today, out of 15 games.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit here, I'm not going to mope about, I'm going to be positive. We've got Froome Town, which, once again, they could be fairly similar to Winchester. Winchester, I felt, didn't go off their own 18-yard box. We had to try and break them down, which we didn't, and that's one thing we've got to work on during the week.
Indeed. A special mention today, I know you don't like talking about it too much, but Curtis, 100 games for Hungerford today, quite an achievement for him.
It is, and I think midweek he even said he's probably played 250 for me personally. So, yeah, no, he's a brilliant player. He has been. He's been a wonderful servant for me. Whether it was at Thatcham and now obviously Hungerford, and he's been brilliant ever since he's come back through the door. He's been one of the reasons why we've, turned the corner. It's one of the reasons why we're not, down there. And yeah, he fully deserves it. I think there's not many people that can say they've had a good non-league career as much as what he can say. He's done some wonderful things in football. He continues to do it. He continues to look after himself. Continues to be fit. He continues to, be a fan's favourite, I feel, as well. And, like I said, I'm a better manager because of him.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, when I retire and finish, and I'm old and I'm getting grey now, but I will always think, of the players that touched you the most and looked after you the most, and he's certainly one of them.
Yeah, he almost cashing his dad out. Probably.
Yeah, and his dad was a hell of a player, so I've been told, and so he tells me as well. But no, he comes from a great footballing family, doesn't he? You only have to look at his family. But you know, we and he envisaged everything. Like I say, he's always 100%. You know, all my players have been 100%. You know, today we just didn't click first half. Second half we were better. You know, and they scored with their only really shot of the game, really, second half. So. You know, we've got a lad in there from Forest Green who's been absolutely magnificent. You know, he's missed a penalty, but ever since he's been through this door, he's been absolutely brilliant for us. You know, and you know he's 18, still learning his trade. He's going to learn from this.
Yeah.
You know, it's about character, and he's got spades of that. You know, Tuesday's had a chance as soon as he come on. He's just got to put a foot through it. We've had one cleared off the line. So yeah, you know, wasn't our day. That's all I'm going to say. Wasn't our day, but you get them sometimes in football, and it's just how you bounce back.
Yeah, and finally, mate, special mentions. It was quite an emotional day, obviously, with Pete Moon and Pete Tilley's recent passing away. So yeah,
absolutely,
it touched me. The 1 minute's applaud at the start of the game, I have to say.
And me, you know, like I said, both Pete's are avid supporters of this football club. You know, Pete Moon only a couple of weeks ago gave up the man of the match and everything. I know the chairman spoke to him Saturday night on the way home, and how proud he was of our result down at Plymouth Parkway. And you know, we wanted to do it for them today, but sometimes in life that don't work out. But one thing it is, sometimes there's more to things in life than football. Indeed. You know, this week, you know, their family have gone right through it, both sets of family, because they've lost a cherished one. All my heart, my love goes out to their family. And like I said, this football club's a special football club because we are a family football club. You know, you go to so many clubs where it doesn't kind of have that same vibe and same feel, so when we lose one of our own it hurts. And like I said, I hope they're both shining down on us for the rest of the season and for many, many more years to come.
I'm sure they will be, and I'm sure they'll be watching us at Frome next week.
Absolutely.
Thanks for your time today, Danny.
Cheers, mate.